Hi everyone, my name is Ronald Denisio and I'm the 7th grade virtual content specialist for social studies. In part 2 of this teacher-facing video series, I will talk about strategies for teaching Unit 5, Day 11 and 12, Fugitive Slave Acts. If you have not done so already, make sure you watch part 1 of this video series for ideas on how to facilitate the mini lesson and provide historical context for your students. In this video, we'll talk about modeling the excerpt from the Fugitive Slave Act of 1793, as well as go over the remaining learning activities in Day 1 and Day 2 of this lesson. It might be helpful to model the triple entry journal strategy for your students with the first excerpt. You can do this by reading the text out loud, modeling how to think about the text while making connections to the historical context and background information we went over earlier in the lesson. You can show students how to chunk the text even further by breaking this excerpt into 2 parts and modeling what you think each part of the text means. Then you can show your thinking about inferences you have made about the text. You don't have to leave students out of this process. Feel free to involve students in the thinking process as much as possible. You can even pause to have students think, pair, share what they think the text means and inferences they have made before demonstrating to the class. Now students will work on the 2 remaining excerpts. One partner strategy that I have had success with is assigning student pairs to read one of the excerpts and then present their findings to another group. For example, you could have 2 students read section 3 and 2 students read section 4. Students can then present their findings and teach the other group about what they read. Day 1 of the Fugitive Slave Acts lesson ends with our wrap-up slide. The goal with our wrap-up is to make connections with our learning objective and help students organize all the information they have learned today. We end today looking at 2 resources for Learning for Justice and their framework for teaching and learning about slavery. The first resource is on this slide here. The next resource is a video that you'll show students and ask them to respond to the questions on the next slide. The video from historian Annette Gordon-Reed does a great job of helping our students understanding important themes of Unit 5 and Nation Divided, which can help our students think about our essential question, was the Civil War inevitable? It might be helpful to encourage students to think about one of the many note-taking strategies that we have gone over in class this year, and to try out a note-taking strategy as they watch the video. After they watch the video and take notes, students can respond to the following questions. Why did many of the American revolutionaries consider protecting the institution of slavery essential to the creation of the United States? What perspective on slavery was common among American revolutionaries? How does the existence of the Fugitive Slave Act of 1793 connect to this perspective? You can also use the video from historian Annette Gordon-Reed, as well as these questions here, as a way to build additional historical context during the mini lesson for Day 1 or Day 2 of this lesson. For Day 2 of this lesson, you could give students an option to explore the resources on their own. Student choice is a great way to differentiate instruction for students. By providing students with a menu of options, they can take ownership of their learning. This lesson offers opportunities for student choice by offering the excerpts from the 1850 Fugitive Slave Act, which can also be found in student workbook page 231 to 232, a video from the History Channel, and also a video from PBS. One strategy to try is you can set a timer and have students explore these resources while walking around or virtually supporting students, and then at the end bringing everyone back together to discuss the wrap-up questions at the end of the lesson. Here's a preview of the learning activities for part 2 of this lesson. Finally, for the wrap-up, we'll ask students to answer the following questions. How did the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 impact the abolitionist movement? And how did the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 contribute to increasing tensions between the North and the South? That concludes the overview for Unit 5, Day 11 and 12, Fugitive Slave Acts. Thanks for watching, and remember, you can try out these teaching strategies for lots of different lessons in the Passport to Social Studies curriculum.